Loki Season 2, Episode 6, Glorious Purpose. Loki learned...
Glorious purpose.
I was waiting for you to do it, and you didn't do it.
I'm blessed with glorious purpose.
Yikes. Loki learned to manage his time slipping, and here we are back at the TVA. We see the same scene with Victor Timely where he disintegrates amongst all of the radiation, and Loki goes to Obi and asks what they could have done differently, and he says they took too long.
Time.
When rushing Timely down the stairs didn't work, Loki goes through a montage of moments through the season, altering what happens to get Timely through the door quicker, but fails every time. Loki makes his way back to episode 4, where Obi and Timely first meet. Upon trying to explain the full plan, Loki realizes there's some information that he can't quite explain.
He said, how long would I need to become an expert on quantum physics? Yeah, but about how long if I wanted to know as much as you?
It'll take decades.
Centuries. He said, fuck it. Centuries later.
Yeah. Loki is explaining to everybody and even has time to predict Mobius's goofy jokes. He gets Timely down into the loom and makes him go through all the things he's already seen as failures, and they succeed. However, Obi notices that the readings are off. That's when Timely states that the branches of time are duplicating and expanding at an infinite rate. Seems like this is the ultimate fate of the loom once new timelines start branching. Now Loki has gone back to where Sylvie and Loki meet He Who Remains. Now he has to stop Sylvie from killing He Who Remains. Throughout this montage, she keeps telling Loki that if she wants to stop Sylvie,
you'll have to kill
her. Something that he clearly doesn't want to do. That's when Loki asks He Who Remains why he doesn't do anything, and he pauses time, something that Loki doesn't know how to do yet. He Who Remains asks Loki if he thought he would just let Sylvie kill him. Loki pauses time, and then they have a real conversation about what's going on.
You know why this scene is so important to me? Is because He Who Remains is able to do this, but He Who Remains has like an infinite amount of variants, right? One of which is another time traveler in Kang. So if He Who Remains is able to hide within his past to to reincarnate himself, essentially, don't you think Kang is able to do the same thing?
Yeah.
That's why it was so interesting to me, because I felt like Kang would somehow be either hinted at or reestablished in Loki in some way. I think that's the Easter egg right there, is the fact that Victor Timely was essentially able to live outside of time and space. Not Victor Timely.
He Who
Remains. Was able to exist outside of time and space to the point that he could go to a prior timeline and be cognizant of the life that just ended, of Sylvie killing him in an alternate time branch, come back in the past and still be there and be able to control it and be aware of what happened.
Yeah. He Who Remains explains that Victor was wrong about there being a scaling problem in the temporal loom because it's a failsafe. When the loom is overloaded with branches, it deletes what shouldn't be there outside of the sacred timeline. Loki is looking for a way to win in the situation when it comes to breaking the loom. He Who Remains explains why that's a bad idea, including causing the war. His other option is obviously killing Sylvie. We get flashback to when Loki first meets Mobius, and he's getting interrogated as a TVA prisoner. Mobius tells a story of a couple of hunters who were out to prune a variant responsible for 5,000 deaths, and it turned out to be an 8-year-old boy. The first hunter hesitated, and it caused numerous consequences, including the deaths of other hunters, and the other hunter had to step in. This was Mobius and Renslayer. After a handshake, Mobius and the timeline disintegrates. We go back to the scene from last episode where everything is coming to an end, and Loki explains to Sylvie that he has to kill her to save He Who Remains. They have a conversation about fighting for free will, and Loki comes to the conclusion that it's okay to destroy something if there's a hope that you can replace that thing with something better. He ends up back at the loom one more time, and instead of sending Timely with the suit, he goes out beyond the blast doors with no suit and starts to disintegrate.
Hold on, fam. So the plan the whole time was for Victor Timely to go out there in the radiation suit and plug the doohickey into the thing and turn it and make it go boom. Right?
Yep.
You could walk out there the entire time and take it yourself?
Yep, with no suit.
at what point in between the hundreds of times that you had to have sent Timely out there and him turn into spaghetti, didn't you think, I'm a god, I can do this on my own? No. Okay, cool. Till it's time to turn yourself into timeline strings himself, and Madam Web this shit.
Facts. Okay, so he starts to disintegrate, but is constantly rehealing himself, and he destroys the loom. He eventually pulls all the dying branches together and sits at the throne at the end of time, or I don't know what that is.
I don't know. I mean, God of Stories?
And so now he's the loom in the version of a nice, pretty green tree.
Yes, he. Well, so the tree I got was like kind of reminiscent of the World Tree in Asgard. That's kind of how I envisioned it. So like Kang or He Who Remains version of the loom was kind of reflecting of his device. Loki's construct of the loom is more reminiscent of the World Tree from where he comes from in Asgard, or where he was raised in Asgard. It's kind of how I took it. I could be wrong. That's how I looked at it.
Okay, that makes sense. Sometime after we see Obi messing around with Miss Minutes, and while Hunter B-15 asks if she'll try to go all crazy again, Obi instills little to no confidence, because obviously he has no idea if Miss Minutes will go crazy again. Mobius has reports on the variants of He Who Remains that they seem to have taken care of. Apparently, Mobius asked for his file, so now he gets to know who he was. Mobius tells Hunter B-15 that he needs to go see what his life is like. Obi wrote a remix edition to his TVA handbook. Renslayer gets dumped off in a timeline where the TVA is destroyed, but I believe we see a glimpse of Kang in his time chair glowing on her.
Nah. They pruned her, remember? So she ended up back in that space where all the pruned people and then that monster from season 1 is at. That's what I thought was coming up on her.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
Okay. Mobius goes back to see his reality, but he doesn't seem all too crazy about it because it's in Cleveland. Sylvie comforts him about his shitty Cleveland life and walks off before too much Cleveland rubs off on her. That's basically what happened. So now Loki is kind of like Heimdall, but like watching over all the timelines.
Not so much to transport people from place to place.
So he's Timedall?
He's He Who Remains, but
he's Timedall
in God form.
Timedall sounds like a shitty rapper who's about to join a reality show.
We're going to leave that in the box that you found it in. But Loki, God of Stories here, is He Who Remains without the need of a loom because he's keeping the timelines together himself.
Fair enough.
Does that mean he can never get up and move? Can he go places? Like, can he travel within the timelines mentally? That would be cool.
I don't know.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty
I've
cool.
never read that comic book, Ryan. I should take a peek of that.
But it seems that that'll be the last we see of him because apparently Tom Hiddleston is not playing him anymore. He said goodbye to the character, I guess.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that. I mean, there's other things that he has to play into. Like maybe there's not another season of Loki. Okay, maybe. But we'll never see Tom Hiddleston again in the MCU after this? No, there's no fucking way. There's no way. This is going to play in the Secret Wars. I mean, this is going to play in the Kang Dynasty, which plays in the Secret Wars. There's zero shot that we never see the actor Tom Hiddleston in the MCU again. It's probably one of those Thor things. Thor pretty much said bye to his character before talking about what he would do differently if he was asked to come back and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, we'll talk to you in 5 years when whatever other things that you're doing maybe aren't earning you as much money and you want to be on top of the A-list on the front page of the call sheet again. And then, we'll revisit.
Facts.
Too young of an actor to be giving up on superhero stuff, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Shout out to Time Doll.
That's not a thing.
Any other thoughts on the Loki season 2 finale?
I thought it was solid. Still not blown away.
Sure.
Right? Still not haven't hit any of those classic MCU moments where it's like, oh shit, I gotta get on the internet right now and talk about it. Like, I'm not getting any of that. But it was adequate.
A nice little closure.
Yeah, adequate. I don't know. You tell us what you thought about it. Put it in the comment prompt below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I don't know what the next Marvel series we'll be doing is, but if we find one that's interesting, we'll hop on and we'll come back and discuss.
We're not doing Echo?
We'll see. Trailer looked good, but we'll see.
Right.
But they are dropping all the episodes of Echo at once, so I'll be able to see it, and then, you know, if it's good, then we'll come back and review.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so also make sure you check out our playlist. We've got season 1 and season 2 reviews of Loki. And then make sure you subscribe, like he said. We will at least be talking about more Marvel stuff, even if we don't talk about the next show.